Hi, and welcome to another Paper Crafting Tuesday. Today I'm playing with some wonderful paper Prima flowers, and wait until you see how I colorize these puppies. They are wonderful, so much fun to play with. I also have butterflies and a neat die that you can use as a background for your cards. So I'm going to start with the background of the card, and I have a piece of cardstock that measures 5 1/4 by 4, and I have these frames rub-ons by Kaiser Craft. I'm not going to use them as frames. I'm going to rub them partially so that I get bits and pieces like this. So I'm going to zoom in so that you can see exactly what I'm doing. So, because all I want is to have the idea of some pattern in the background, but not anything that's recognizable. Okay, I think I've got a good amount on there. Now I'm going to take Evergreen Bow Distress Stain, and I'm going to rub this all around. I'm going to try and leave a little bit of white around the piece, like so. The rub-ons will resist the ink. Now I'm going to make a few splatters because distress stains are reactive to water and it's always fun to do. And take a clean rag and blot out the excess. Look how cool this is. Next I have a few flowers that I pulled out of this box by Prima. And there's all sorts of different sizes of flowers. They're all white. You can do whatever you want with them. There's also a couple of sprigs, and I've pulled one out. You can also get leaves. You can also get different styles of flowers. There's a whole bunch available. Of course, I don't want to leave them white, so I'm going to colorize them, and there are many, many different ways to colorize flowers. Today I've chosen something that looks a little bit more rustic. I'm going to use Distress ink, and what I'm going to do is press wild honey right onto my mat and spiced marmalade. Just going to add a bit of water to each of those, and I'm first going to dip my flower in the wild honey and just play with it a little bit, see where I get, and then I'm going to press in the center of this one, and you see what I get? I get something very natural looking and very cool looking actually. Now I'm going to zap this with water as well so that some of that color wicks into the paper, and I'm going to let that dry. And look how gorgeous this is. Very, very nice. So I'm going to do the other ones. Now for the sprig, I'm going to use the same method, but I'm going to use a Tombow marker to do the stems first. I have number 57 here. I'm just going to color the stem. It's kind of like a green brown, which is perfect for stems. Oh, I love that. See how the flower grabs onto the wet color. Of course, I don't want them all the same color, so I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to rest this on a piece of Scott towel, or paper towel I should say, so that it dries properly. Maybe this way. I'm going to try and flip the little flowers around. And here, they're gonna rest right here. I'm going to take my heat tool, help them a little bit. The flowers are now dry and they look so pretty. I love how they turned out. However, I've noticed that the stem is not dark enough, so I'm going to take the brown marker again and I'm just going to go over the areas that I think needs a little bit more of a pop. Now when I bring in my last embellishment, this is a beautiful butterfly by Maya Road. They come in packs like these. There's different sizes. I do believe there are 7 styles, so 2 each. So this will be another accent. And the last thing I want to do to the background is die cut out of craft cardstock. This sort of like a panel, I guess. It looks like, to me it looks like a garden trellis, but this is the die. It's a die by Frantic Stamper Ink. And I went ahead and cut it out, and look how pretty that is. So it could also be, I'm thinking maybe the door of a fence, of a very fancy fence. So if you're doing sort of like a house scene or something like that, that could be interesting as well. But I'm going to layer this over that. I'll give it a little bit more pop, however, because I do want to intertwine these flowers through this trellis-like thing. So I'm going to put the sprig in the back here, and I'm going to make those flowers pop through these openings. So it'll look like the flowers are growing behind the trellis and in front of the trellis. And I think this is going to be a very interesting piece like that. So I'll have some that will stay behind, and I will pop some of these towards the front. And I didn't really plan how they should be looking. I'm just going with the flow here. So I'm going to glue this down right now so that I know how to position the rest of the flowers. So I'm going to put one behind here. There we go. So that's kind of neat. I like the look of that. And if I see that I'm having too much of a wave here and there, I'll fix that later. For now, I'm going to add the bigger flowers at the bottom. First, before I do this, I'm going to pop this onto the card base, which is a brown card base. And the card base measures, of course, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I'm kind of in love with this new liquid glue pen that we got from Forever in Time. And the cool thing about liquid glue is that it gives you time to move your piece around as opposed to a dry adhesive. And when it dries, it's very, very solid. I think it's a lot more resistant than a dry adhesive. This is just my preference. And especially when you add bulk to a piece and you're trying to glue it down, sometimes it can go wonky when you try to glue with a two-way adhesive. So there we go. Now I'm going to play around with some of these flowers. To glue these down, I'm going to use some mini glue dots. And to these flowers I want to add some pearls. Now I was debating whether to use the blue pearls or the regular white looking pearls. I think I'm going to stick with that because it's not exactly the correct blue that I have. I'm gonna fold the wings of the butterfly. I could colorize that, but I think it looks better white like this. That way it'll stand out more. So I'm gonna take more mini glue dots. There we go. Okay, so this is what the front looks like. I love how these flowers turned out. I absolutely love that. Very nice, very close to nature, I would say. Now inside I'm not done. I want to decorate that further. So I have a piece of cardstock here that measures 4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to stamp with this Penny Black Special Wishes stamp set. So I'm going to use that frame. So of course I'm not going to glue that piece down right away just in case I mess up. I'd rather glue it after I'm done the stamping. That way if I mess up I can always redo with another piece of cardstock and I don't have to undo the whole inside of the card. So I'm going to put that frame a little bit higher than the middle. Like this. By the way, I'm using Jet Black Archival ink. You could also use the hybrid ink by My Favorite Things. It would work as well. And for the wish, I think Thanks a Bunch would be appropriate because there's so many flowers. It's kind of like a bunch of flowers on top. So this will be a thank you card. And I'm going to stamp that in the middle of the frame. Don't you love the acrylic stamps? So much easier. For sentiments, I love them. There we go. Oh, I love that. Okay, so I'm going to glue that to the inside of the card. Again, I'm going to use my glue pen for this. See what I mean by being able to adjust? I can actually move it around even when it's down on paper. Whoops, like this. And that way I can play with the placement of it and make sure that it's aligned. There it is. I actually managed to wedge a couple of foam adhesive here at the 2 corners so that it wouldn't lift. And because I have a white background underneath, I kind of got away with it. So I really like how this card turned out. I realized some of those flowers here, I would have liked to have them pop out of the trellis. I love how the rub-ons look in the background. It's just a perfect accent. Love those flowers. I love how they turned out. How fun to colorize your own flowers. And then we have the inside with our message. So that was it for today. I hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below and I will be back on Friday.